in the middle bar of the Gilded Balloon.
We are moving about a bit.
Because the fabulous Beck Hill is having her wedding reception in the loft.
I heard this, yeah.
So we got thrown out.
How romantic.
Yeah, we didn't get invited.
No, well, you know.
We didn't.
Never mind.
Kind of sad.
I don't even care.
I heard it was a 5-star wedding.
I thought it was rubbish.
Would marry again.
Really?
Yeah. Here we are with Andrea Walker and Patrick Collier, the choreographer and producer and associate director of the incredible Smother, which is appearing at Zoo Southside. Hello.
Hello. Hi, guys.
Hi there. Well, as ever, I've just come from seeing the show, and it was incredible. I have lots to say about it. But Ben here, as ever.
I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it?
No.
No. And do you know anything about it?
No.
No, not
No,
at all.
I don't.
Do you know anything about contemporary dance?
It's dance and it's modern.
Moderns are probably a good word for it.
Good word for it, yeah.
Good word for it. Cool. Well, can I ask Andrea if you could tell Ben what he's missing out on?
Yeah, indeed. So our show Smother is a mix of contemporary and hip-hop dance. So I tend to mix the two styles together. The show has 7 dancers. It's all about relationships with themes of addiction, obsession, and we totally sold out last year. So this year we're in Zoo Southside, which is one of the main dance stages of the Fringe.
Cool. Well done.
And it's fantastic, the show. Patrick, it deals with as you describe in the copy for the show, the gay experience.
Sure.
Through dance.
Yeah.
Which is a really interesting tack. Is it designed that you're planning to aim this at sort of young audiences to connect through dance?
Absolutely. I think, it's 2016. Having a dance show about LGBT sexuality is nothing new, but what I think has been striking people with Smother is that we're doing this through hip-hop, and hip-hop is still a relatively homophobic, misogynistic world. Not all of it, thankfully, but it is still a taboo. Talking about being gay in hip-hop is still a taboo. And when we started talking about making a show, Andrea would, as a gay choreographer, would say that who works in commercial hip-hop and contemporary, would say that you don't really see yourself represented on stage. You don't see normal, strong, non-problematic gay experience represented on stage. And I think it's important to say that this isn't a coming out story. That was really important to us. We don't talk in the show about how terrible it is to be, how difficult it is to be gay. It's nothing about that. It's just a normal relationship. You could recast it with a man and a woman or 2 women if you wanted to. Just normalising it, just putting a normal relationship there.
Well, one thing I did love about Smother is that you addressed the lesbian experience also. So much contemporary work which is about the LGBTQ experience kind of sticks with the gay male experience, and it's very rare to see lesbians represented in that type of work. And also done beautifully in that you sort of touch on the awkwardness of just sex in general, which was a beautiful piece. It really caught my imagination, that whole sequence, because we've all been there where, without giving too much away, there's fumbling with clothes and, that just shameful awkwardness of embarrassment that can come up, the silliness of first-time sex, which is a universal experience regardless of who you're chosen.
It's not the first time, it's usually
All times.
All times.
But yeah, you're right. It wonderfully portrays that sense of meeting someone, a connection with someone, falling for them, and then is fallout the right term that can happen when you meet somebody that you feel passionate about?
Yeah, indeed. Kind of like how Patrick said, like it was really important for me to create a show that isn't like super gay. You see a lot of gay shows where the men are half naked and there's a lot of sex in it, and obviously sex is addressed, but for me it was important to normalize in some ways the gay experience, whether that is men or women that you don't see so often.
Absolutely. How do you approach the choreography of a show which, when you're using hip-hop music and the hip-hop dance style, how do you approach it when, as you say, you've worked in that environment, which is very, very misogynistic? It has a very particular way it portrays women, and it has a very particular way it portrays, the heterosexual male.
Yeah, so being a gay hip-hop dancer myself, I very rarely see my experiences represented in the style I like the most. And thankfully / not thankfully, I got my heart broken 2 years ago,
Oh.
and I decided to make a show about it.
All the best art comes out of heartbreak.
Exactly.
And I think that's the simple, like, I think it was a simple personal story at the end of the day. It was a story based on experience rather than coming in with the political flag, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, the people that, like, companies that we've worked with have been very supportive, even if a little bit awkward if you're dealing with some of the bigwigs in the hip hop world, maybe, but really supportive that it's coming out. So I don't think we've come across any homophobia, thankfully, in making the show. So we just kind of told the story and put it out there, and people take from it what they will, really.
Yeah. And as you say again in the copy, you've presented this work all over the world. What sort of reactions has it been getting from younger audiences?
It's amazing. I mean, obviously we get gay audiences in that love seeing their experience represented, but it's amazing to see straight people that wouldn't normally see this type of show being so touched, being like, it's just a relationship. And we've been bringing the show to much younger audiences as well, 15, 16. And it's amazing to see those audiences like actually get into proper debates after the show, yelling at each other.
Really starts conversations.
Yeah,
doesn't
really
it?
starts conversations.
We were going, like, in some of the youth groups we went, kids were literally having arguments afterwards after the show, which is kind of great, you know.
I mean, dance is a great way to connect with younger audiences now. Dance is probably never been better represented on TV, with dance companies regularly getting through to the finals of various talent shows. More and more young people are engaging with dance in their communities. There are so many fantastic new young dance companies coming up. So it's giving you the opportunity, I would think, to be something of a trendsetter in dance theatre that is dealing with issues. Was that always an intention with 201?
Definitely. I mean, for me personally, I find dance shows can be quite hard to understand. So what was important for me was to have a very clear storyline that dancers and non-dancers alike can enjoy, and I could just completely enjoy and understand, you know.
So what was the development process? Did you bring in the dancers and workshop the piece, or was it formed in your mind and you knew what you were doing?
A little bit of both. I had about 20 minutes of material already pre-made, so a lot of the ensemble big choreography pieces were already in my head about 2.5 years ago. But yeah, a lot of the duets and a lot of the more intimate work that was very much devised with all the dancers and using their own skills as well.
It's very funny. Sorry, it's very funny getting a tube, getting a train with Andrea in London because he choreographs in his head. So like, you'd be on a tube with him and he'd just be like.
I never choreograph on my body. I always choreograph on the tube, bus, walking.
And would you say the soundtrack of this show is like your Spotify playlist?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's our first show, so it was important for me to make a show with literally all my favorite tracks.
It's great. Are you confused, Ben? Are you following?
I'm following, no, I'm
You're
following.
following?
I'm with it, yeah.
You're with it?
I'm with it.
You're with it.
I'm hip.
Good
Cool.
stuff. You're hip.
Hip hop.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, in a wider sense, how you found the reaction in Edinburgh with the piece? How has the Fringe affected the work and affected you as a choreographer?
It's been crazy. We came here last year and it was my first time and my dancer's first time at the Fringe. I didn't know how the Fringe works, and I was prepping everyone. I was like, guys, if we have 10 people in today, or if we have 12, that's really good for a Fringe. There's an average of 4 per show, so we'll be okay. And then we sold out like a week straight.
Yes.
And that's why now we're back in the main stage. It's just been, the reaction has just been so much bigger than we were
We had
expecting.
in the first week this year, we had a few people come 3 times after 6 shows. So people, if they like it, they seem to like it, which is nice. At the end of the day, that's what it's about, I think. Especially young audiences. That's what touches me the most. When you get young people, like the early 20s or teenagers or whatever, who come out saying, I've never seen dance before, but I love this. I'm going to go and see more dance now. That is the best reaction for me.
It was fantastic. It was a really diverse audience when I was in today as well. Packed out, and on a lovely summer's day, going into that pitch black space at Zoo Southside to see some contemporary dance. Seems unusual, I imagine, to a lot of people. But it was an incredibly diverse crowd, and their reactions were fantastic, from the people who were whooping and hollering at the end of the numbers to the polite golf clap of the folk who are appreciating the dance for its aesthetic qualities. Do you find that you get very different reactions?
1,000%. Like, literally, we have this, as you've seen, we have this very high energy piece that starts the show. And if people don't clap after that first piece, they won't clap for the whole show. They feel they can't clap. Well, if we get a hip hop audience, they're whooping and cheering, and they're cheering between each piece, and we love both, you know. Like, sometimes it's really quiet and we're like, oh my god,
Yesterday,
what's going on?
nobody made a sound for the whole show, so everybody was like, oh god, they just didn't like it, okay. And then the audience coming out, I had a lot of friends in, and they were in tears coming out, and they watched it in a very different way. They were very moved by it, and they got really into the emotional story, but they didn't whoop for the hip hop as much. So there is big different reactions. I think as a terrible generalization, older audiences seem to be more considerate and considered and probably quieter.
Yes.
But that's a stereotype, so probably.
Yeah, we don't care about consideration. We like the roots.
In musical theatre, we always called them matinee audiences.
Yeah.
They've come in the afternoon, they've not had a nap yet, they watch it entertainingly.
Yeah, but I suppose in a way you will have audiences that will be more interested in the story, and then you have audiences that will be more interested in the craft and what you're actually doing. So you are going to get two different audiences. But I always found when I performed, if you got an audience that were quiet, they were tuned in, and I loved that just as much as the ones that were laughing flat. So you've got best of both worlds with your audiences, by the sounds of it.
Our audiences are great. We love you all.
Audiences are the best. Everyone loves the audiences.
Well, the thing as well is the show starts very high energy, and then it gets into very intimate territory. So yeah, it's a good compromise.
Something for everyone.
And it rollicks along as a show. It's really thumping. You know, I was sort of watching it, and then as it was going through, I at one point I thought I'm loving this, and I always end up checking my phone about halfway through, so just to sort of see what time it is, because it's a good indicator if I'm enjoying a show or not, depending on how much time I thought. And only like I thought maybe 10 minutes had passed, and there was only about 10 minutes left. And I was like, whoa! And it was that wonderful experience of going, this show's going to finish in 10 minutes, and I don't really want it to.
That's nice.
It was so engaging. The cast are phenomenal. You yourself, Andrea, of course, are in the cast. But yeah, it's a great dynamic in the show, because it must be hard work doing this show every day.
Yeah, it is, and I love my cast. I mean, they're incredible. We had this big audition in London. We auditioned, I think, 70 girls and 45 boys. And in the end, what was really important for us was, that everyone had that kind of emotional connection. It's really easy to find hip-hop dancers that are killing choreography, but are like, well, I have to be emotional in this. So I think we found what we were looking for.
And it's important, I think, for both of us as well. Everybody looks kind of different, you know. Everybody has their own style, their own look. Like Andrea says, they're not a cast of hip hop clones.
Yes.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, because that's just a different aesthetic. But I do really like seeing diverse bodies and diverse styles on stage.
Yes. There's a real range of physical shapes on stage. You don't have those very clearly hip hop video type girls, and you're very clear sort of hip hop lads. There's a real mix. Smother, I can't say how great it is without just again sounding like I'm bigging it up too much.
You don't do that, so.
But I don't do that.
So you must be sincere.
I am sincere. I loved it. Are you going to go and see it, Ben?
Yes, definitely. I'm really interested with the story in terms of, as you say, this is just a normal relationship, and it's kind of refreshing. It's refreshing to have just a relationship story with no flags, as you were saying. There's no political. And normalising it, I think normalising it is it's very refreshing, and it seems to be the way things are going these days, and I like it. And it sounds really interesting.
Yeah. Culture. Art leads culture. in a lot of ways. And I think it's incredible for you to take hip hop, as you say, which has such a strange attitude to the LGBTQ experience, and to take that and run with it and create such a beautiful piece that I think would touch people in ways that they wouldn't understand. You know, I am cis het across the board. I don't wear badges or anything. You know, I don't like to brag about my privilege because I don't need to, I suppose. And I was really moved by the piece, and I could tell other people around me were really moved by the piece. It represented, I think, a lot of the experiences of a lot of people I care about, who perhaps don't get to see their life experience presented in such a dynamic and, dare I say it, really sexy way. It made me laugh. It made me think. I absolutely adored it.
Great.
Lost the words, Ben.
Thank you.
Lost the words. I had to say.
When me and Chris, the other lead, are doing the final duet, we can always hear sniffles in the audience and people crying. We're like, yes.
I made someone cry today.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the most you can hope for at the Fringe, is to make someone cry in the middle of the day.
Then you're winning.
If you're crying at 4 p.m, it's definitely a winner.
Well, yes, would you like to then say where people can see Smother and give them all the details to catch the show?
Yes, Smother is showing every day at 3:20 p.m. at Zoo Southside.
Fantastic. And that's on till
Until the 27th of August.
27th of August. I can't recommend that heartily enough. If you love dance, if you love hip hop, the soundtrack's great. Catch Smother. That was pretty good, Ben, yeah?
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much
Thank you.
Thank you,
for
guys.
speaking to us, and good luck with the rest of the run.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Enjoy your Fringe.
Cheers.